and thanks for joining me on the fourth set of these Yoga for Health videos. As my mom brought up, if you're having a hard time hearing me, maybe hook up your sound to a Bluetooth speaker. Otherwise, I'll be working on that technical difficulty for the future. So for this fourth set, I think this is a really good set if you have a hard time actually getting down on the mat and you require a practice that is more upright or supported with a chair. Either way, there's going to be options for both or all levels essentially. So we'll just get started. So you can either begin on your mat in a seated meditative pose or find a chair and take a few moments, as always, that we do in the beginning, and just start to focus on your breath and your alignment. You might just begin by taking a gentle scan of your body, inviting your hips to be rooted, maybe imagining the ribs floating another inch up towards the heavens, the sky. Your crown is open, inviting a sense of openness through the clavicles as maybe you take the shoulders up, down, and back. Eyes can close and just take a few moments to scan, to start to become more sensitive to the sensations inside. Just noticing breath as it is. You might take this opportunity for gratitude and just thanking yourself already for devoting some time for you, towards yourself and towards your health. In the next few breaths, you might start to invite that three-part Durga breath that we've been working on. Inhaling deep into the belly, letting breath rise into the chest, all the way up. Exhaling from the chest, through the ribs and belly. Inhaling, letting breath stretch into the belly. You might notice it in the front and back, letting it draw up into the heart. As you notice, as the breath rises, the belly draws in slightly. Exhaling and just taking this at your own pace with your own breath. Take another moment, connect. Next time you find yourself inhaling, take a full yogic breath in all the way, filling the lungs. And at the very top, you might shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, tighten all the muscles in the body, engaging the buttocks, the abdominals, engage that Mula Bandha that we discussed last set, the perineum, engaging that up towards the spine. You might even scrunch the muscles of your face, make a tight fist, hold. And then when you need to exhale, just let everything melt and soften. And take a few moments just to wake up your body. If you want to explore some intuitive movements here with the arms, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, maybe roll out your ankles. We're going to take a moment to just kind of move our way up to an upright standing position. So if you're on your mat, come all the way up. If you have use of a block, we're going to use a block as well. You don't have to use a block, but it just helps. So if you do have a block, just bring it in between your thighs. If you don't worry about it. Stand with your feet hip-width distance, and that is unique for each body. So you want to find the little knobs of your iliac crest here, the front of your hips, and you want to sense your ankles and your second and third toes lining up right with that hip crest. Okay, so just stand. If you have the block, you can squeeze the block. And shoulders can roll again up, back, and down. You want to ground into your feet. You might sense energy flowing up the front of your body, lifting up, and then as you exhale, grounding down. You might sense energy cascading down the back surface of your body. We're going to take a little bit of a flow here And just be mindful of your knees tracking over your second and third toes. So we're going to inhale, just sweep the arms up in that Tadasana, drawing the front of your ribs back toward your spine. As you exhale, we're going to sit back into Utkatasana. You can circle the arms around, and you might bring them to shoulder width height. You might reach them all the way up if that's comfortable. So just check out your knees and make sure they're lining up over your second and third toe. Make sure you're engaging that Mula Bandha at the very base of your spine and Uddiyana Bandha, so you're drawing the navel center in and up. Your spine should have its nice natural curve, so if you bring your hand onto your spine, you want to make sure as you flow here in Utkatasana that you're not rounding into your hands or you're not bringing the tailbone back and creating too much of a dip or an arch. So we're going to, on your next inhale, rise all the way back up, reaching nice and tall, and as you exhale, flow back into that Utkatasana, seated mountain. You can smile as you do this. Weight should be back in the heels and also the ball mounds of your big toe and pinky toe. We're going to inhale to rise, stretching tall. Again, side body lengthens, front of the ribs draw back. Exhale, sit back, Utkatasana. Smile through it. Inhale to rise. Sensing your thighs lift, your feet stamp into the ground. Exhale as we sit. One more set. Inhale, lifting up, nice and tall. Sense yourself growing another inch. Exhale, we'll sit. And we're going to pause here in Utkatasana and breathe. So you can just stay as you are. I'm just going to pivot. So we're just going to inhale. Maybe imagine lifting up an inch. Exhale, sitting down another 2 inches. And breathing here. Inhale, maybe up an inch. Exhale, another 2. One more time. Inhale, sense your strength. And exhale, and pausing, another 2 deep breaths, breathing in and out, hugging your arm bones into their sockets, sensing energy between the palms as you reach and lift your heart. Another breath in, imagining the spine lengthening as you exhale, ground into those feet. Inhale to rise nice and slow, and exhale, palms to heart center. Nice work. Feeling that heat of that practice. We're going to take a moment and just roll out our ankles, so you might just ground into one leg, and then you can keep the toes connected as you roll the ankle in both directions of one foot, or you can even take the foot all the way off the ground and do this. Good. And if you're having balance issues, feel free to use a chair as you do this. You can switch to the other side, circling that ankle. And if you don't have a chair, using a wall works too. Lots of options, no excuses. Next, we're going to go into a little bit of side bends before we experience Vrksasana, tree pose. So we're going to just inhale, bring your arms up, grabbing hold of your left wrist, and let's stretch up and over to that right side. Take an inhale, lengthen, exhale, reach. Inhale to rise back up. Exhale, up and over other side. So reaching hold of your right wrist, pulling yourself up and over to that left side. Inhale, lifting on up, front of the ribs drop back. Exhale as you maybe stretch a little bit further. Take one more. Exhale. Inhale your way back up. Just follow your own breath. And exhale, hands connect. So again, if balance is a problem for you today, there's lots of options. You can use a chair, you can use a wall to help stabilize, and even a block. So you might just start grounding into your right foot and taking your left foot up on that block. And just sensing, trying not to sink into your trochanter, your outer hip. You want to lift and lengthen your way up. You might, from inside the hip socket of that bent left leg, you might just open the leg out. And again, we're lifting on up. You might be stabilizing with a chair. You might take your arms up. If you like, you can take the foot completely off the ground or off a block and bring it just below the knee. Or you can take it up above the knee. You just don't want it on the knee because the knee should not bend laterally. It's a hinge joint. It only goes from the front to the back. So we're going to think about pressing foot into thigh or shin and press back with the shin into the foot or the thigh into the foot. So there's lots of oppositional energy, and we're breathing here. Inhale, sensing that length,
lift us up. Exhale, grounding into the legs. Take another breath here, inhale, and exhale. We'll come on out and try the other side. Again, using supports if you need them today. Just do what's right for you. Every day is different, especially for balance. So grounding into that left leg, again, you might just take that right foot up onto the block and sense that stability here, sense that lift. Drawing navel center back to spine. You might, again, rotate the hip outwardly if that's available, and take the foot now below the knee or even up above the knee. Some people even like to take the foot into the hip crease here. That just kind of opens up the hip in a different way. But mind your body, mind its limits, and really honor what's right for you. So finding your Vrksasana tree pose and just breathing into it. And don't quote me on how I pronounce Sanskrit. I'm terrible with pronouncing English words, let alone another language. So we're going to take another breath in here, sensing that length, that openness of the heart and chest. Exhale, anchoring into the feet. Maybe just take one more inhale, and on that exhale, we'll gently come on out. Okay, how are we doing? So next, what we're gonna go into is a cobra lift, and I'm gonna show you what you can do on the ground, but also an option for using a wall for standing for those of you that aren't able to get onto the ground. So if you're able to get onto the ground, essentially, you're gonna come down onto your bellies. You're gonna focus on your pelvis area, pressing your pelvis into the mat. And as you press your pelvis into the mat, we can lift our hearts. And you might just stay here, or you might play with also floating the legs. Taking a couple breaths, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the heart, and again, grounding through that pelvis. And you're gonna try to stay there with your breath for about 5 breaths. If you wanna take this option with the wall, I'm gonna do my best to show you, so I have to rotate the camera now. So I'm going to show you with a wall, or just standing in general. So you could essentially just stand, and I know I'm cutting myself off here, but that's okay. You don't need to see my whole body. You could take a block, if you have it, place the block between yourself and a wall. And that way you're making sure to engage your pelvis. That way the block doesn't fall away. So you're pressing that pelvis. So from the pelvis, you're anchoring down into your feet, and from the pelvis, energy is moving up the body into your heart, through your crown. And that's what gives you that upright verticality. And from that, then the arch starts to move back. Only from that engagement. And we're breathing in and out. You might have to adjust the block depending on how long your feet are. And you don't have to have your hands on, or you can do this just standing too. It's just standing, pressing pelvis forward, hands on your back, and letting yourself open back. And again, once you find yourself there, just see if you can hold it for about 5 deep breaths. And as you're holding it, you might just continue to think about that length moving up the front of the body, grounding down through the heels, grounding down through the feet on the exhale. And then when you're ready and you've finished your breaths, whether you're on the floor or you're trying that version standing, you can bring yourself back to a comfortable seated position. So you can do this in your chair or on a mat, or you can even lie down for Shavasana. And you want to just take a few moments. It's recommended at least 2 minutes for the body to actually relax and integrate and to sense patterns kind of releasing. So give yourself 2 minutes. Simply 2 minutes just to relax, to sit, or to lie down, to just connect with your breath, to not worry, to not do. And you can even set an alarm with your phones. Just for time limit constraints, I do have to end this video because we covered a lot already in this practice. But I wish you all the best. Make sure you take that relaxation. It's very important. And thank you again for joining me on this 4th set. And thank you again, Mom, for bringing up the volume concern. So please listen to this with your Bluetooth speakers. Or if you're tech savvy, let me know. Give me some input on how you can practice along and also hear me better. And namaste.